if it's enough to make me go make a meme of a giant Jurassic shoehorn, you gotta wonder. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Clint. I am back.
Excellent!
With another episode of Everything Movies. Today we're talking about Jurassic Dominion. Jurassic Dominion stomped its way into a $143 million opening domestically and is well on its way to $386 million worldwide. Here to talk with me about this movie is my friend and the editor of Small Screen Co., an excellent entertainment news site. They talk about movies and TV and all kinds of good stuff. The legend, Edward Lauder. Edward, how you doing, man?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing great. What are you on? Are you on holiday right now?
It's a working holiday. Let's call it that. It's dog sitting.
It's a beautiful green screen you have going on behind you right now.
Yeah, it is a green screen. Don't worry about it. No, it's not. It's real. It's the south of France, so it's nice.
Nah, awesome, man. Let's talk about this movie, man. I'm going to ask you right off the bat. Jurassic Dominion. Did you like it?
Oh, that's such a loaded question. I'm going to have to say no. There are many reasons why I didn't like it, but the main one is I just feel like this franchise as a whole is very tired. The last couple of Jurassic World movies, I felt like the first one is still, to me, the strongest. Like, this is like the new trilogy, but this one in particular felt like the story to me made no sense. It felt very much tacked on to the final movie, where it was actually quite. I thought the last one, can't actually remember what that was called, but I thought that one was actually quite good in its ending, with the dinosaurs going into the real world. But this one, I felt like it wasn't necessary, and I think that was my main problem with it.
I kind of agree with you on this. Like, that's exactly what I said to myself. I was like, "Do we need this movie? Did we?" Well, so Edward, let's talk about the plot of this movie. Like, how did you feel about the plot? I thought it was a little convoluted myself, but I want to hear what you think about this.
There was a plot. Yeah, there was some sort of plot, but that one of my main issues with this film was that the plot. Yeah, the word convoluted is exactly the right word. It was all written for the sole purpose of trying to get the old Jurassic Park characters back into the movie, and you can really feel it, couldn't you? I mean, at least I did. I felt like I was like, they're trying to get, like, you know, all of the Ellie, Alan, and Ian all back into it, and the only way they could come up with that was Locust.
I made a meme with the giant Jurassic shoehorn. The size of the shoehorn to make this movie work. It's exactly what it felt like to me. Like, they said, okay, how do we bring all of these people together and make this movie? Which I think is cool, but I also kind of felt like, hey, are they trying to cash in on some of this Spider-Man nostalgia or something?
I think they were trying to cash in more on, like, the Star Wars nostalgia. To me, I was reminded of the moments when you saw, like, Han Solo and Princess Leia come back, and of course Mark Hamill, like Luke Skywalker, in those original trilogies. But one of the problems they had was at the very beginning of this trilogy, they didn't bring back any of the old characters of this, like, new Jurassic World trilogy. They didn't bring back a single one.
Yeah. So
it felt like really, really just way too quick, and the reasoning felt ultimately kind of stupid. I thought, it's like, why are they coming back? Giant locust. Okay, fine. How is Ian Malcolm involved in all of this? Oh yeah, he's hired by the Tim Cook villain guy. It's like, I'm sorry, but watching that, I know that he's linked in some way to the original Jurassic Park film, the villain, but I'd completely forgotten about his character, and he literally just was playing it like Tim Cook. And I was like, okay, so Apple are the bad guys again.
Yeah, it was a little convenient. I mean, people are running into each other like they're on the set of Mandalorian or something. You know, they're like, oh, hey, what are you doing here? Hey, I know who you are. You're a velociraptor trainer. You know, yeah, it was kind of funny. But, you know, you gotta sometimes let things go like that. At least I think. Maybe I'm just too nice.
I don't think you're wrong. But I also think, like, when it's done well, then you kind of would forgive it. The problem with this film was that it literally felt so convoluted. Colin Trevorrow is one of the credited writers, and he's been involved in this franchise since the beginning. But I think this was one of the most poorly written blockbusters that I've seen since Fast 9.
And that's saying a lot.
And it is saying a lot, but that was one of the big things when I was watching this. I was like, I haven't kind of noticed how bad the plot is this much since I watched Fast 9. And there is no plot in Fast 9. I think maybe it was my love of like the original, especially the original Jurassic Park films, is one of the reasons why I think I cared more about this. To see Laura Dern and Sam Neill back, that was big for me, because Jurassic Park was, as a child, one of my favorite films of all time. It's not so much a horror film, but it was one of the first kind of scary movies I watched, and it really meant a lot to me. And it was also, I think, as far as cinema is concerned, it's a very important film. But I think this movie, it didn't do that justice.
That was one of the things, Edward, I was going to ask you. It's like this movie got a 30% critic score and a 79% audience score. That's a big gap. And clearly, you were telling me that you were distracted by the plot because it was so bad it's taking you out of the movie. And I know that people are going to this movie because they're nostalgic. They want to see the dinosaurs again. They want to see these cast members. I'm like, I'm ready to see some Jeff Goldblum when I walk in there. But if it were you, if somebody hired you as an advisor, what would you say they could have done to fix this? Or do you think this is just what you get when you try to pull some old characters and new characters and duct tape them together, as I like to say? Like, what do you think they could have done? How could this have been a little better?
That's actually a really difficult question to answer, because I do get that feeling that with this movie it was duct taped together, and it's weird because it's been in production for so long, and Colin Trevorrow was going on about having a brilliant idea to bring all them back, and in the end it boils down to Locust. But it's like there are movies where this has been really well done. I mean, so you mentioned Spider-Man No Way Home before. Spider-Man No Way Home did it really well because in the way the plot was worked, it just made sense to have them back. Other films, I actually think The Force Awakens, I think, did it quite well. And I also think The Last Jedi did it quite well. In kind of focusing more maybe on one character per movie, I think that's actually quite a good way to do it. And this is one of the problems that this franchise had to begin with, was that they just didn't do that. They wanted to create something new. They wanted to create a new Alan Grant, which they did with Chris Pratt as Owen. And unfortunately, like, the new characters, I just don't feel were as well-rounded and as interesting. Like, I think I would have advised them not to do it in the first place. They wrote themselves into a corner in the end of the first film, but also the second movie as well, by bringing the dinosaurs into the real world. And we even saw that with the original Jurassic Park franchise. Like, Lost World had that same problem as well. And then the third Jurassic Park film was not good at all. Jurassic Park 3 was pretty terrible, actually. But like, whenever you've got dinosaurs in the real world, even though that's what ultimately people want to see, I just don't think it works because it looks so weird. And it just... Like, you know, dinosaurs, it's a weird thing to say, but dinosaurs and human don't mix. And you, even just looking at this film, to begin with, I was like, there's something a bit janky about the way it looks. Like, the CGI was a bit janky in some scenes, which is kind of weird considering how long they had to make it. So yeah, I would have probably said, just don't make this movie.
I also felt like they had to assign things for people to do. There was a scene where Dallas Bryce Howard is trying to cut this electrical box. Then Laura Dern grabs the thing and she takes a whack also. That way they both got to split the time. And then she had like a tagline afterwards, and it just
felt so good. Was her tagline? There are so many cheesy lines. Like, I think Chris Pratt is one of the best at delivering like the corniest, like, all American, like, dad lines. Like, I really did feel like this was, out of all the films I've ever seen, this was the cheesiest one. I've never before in any Jurassic World movie or park movie have I ever really noticed the writing as much as in this one. And that's not a good thing.
What did you think about the popcorn aspects about this? The adventure, they had some like 007-esque almost chase scenes. They had dinosaurs. I mean, everybody wants to go see the dinosaurs in the action and the suspense when you're holding your breath and a dinosaur's coming up to your face. No, nobody does it better than Dallas Bryce Howard of looking terrified with a CGI creature in your face. She's amazing. How do you think that went? For somebody who's looking for a fun popcorn movie, how do you think they did with those fun aspects of this movie?
Yeah, that was something I was really looking forward to. And I felt like the first Jurassic World movie did it for me. And even to a certain element, the second one did as well. But this one, ultimately, I was kind of bored throughout the whole film, and honestly, I was not expecting to be for the film to feel as long as it did. And I think that's one of the problems, is that usually, like, we've had a lot of long movies recently, like a lot of long blockbusters. We've had Spider-Man No Way Home. We've had Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was pretty long as well. Those films you didn't really feel the time go by. With this one, I really did. And I think Bryce Dallas Howard is brilliant as well. I love her. And actually, I think it might be rather telling that she said after this movie was released that after this film, she's going to focus more on directing and not act for a while. And it's not because she's a bad actress. I think she's brilliant. But I do wonder whether she herself is a bit like jaded with all this stuff now. And I think actually a better director for this would have been Bryce Dallas Howard. I do wonder whether a lot of this falls down, if kind of is Colin Trevorrow's fault. Like, the last couple of films he's directed have been duds, like real duds. Like, one of them actually lost him the Star Wars gig, Yeah. So I think I do wonder whether that might be the issue. The bigger issue at play here is not the actors. It's not all the people that are, because the film did look great. It was the CGI, even though I thought some bits of it were quite janky, were good. I will say, I actually think this is a very, very poorly edited movie. At the beginning of this movie, there is a scene in particular with Maisie Lockwood, the clone's character in this movie. There's a scene when she's going into town from their little cabin in the woods, and there are so many weird edits in that scene. Like, it cuts away from her on the bike to a shot of the bridge, and then straight to another shot. And it just felt really kind of frantic editing for a scene that shouldn't be frantic. And I really do think there might have been real issues with finding the movie in the edit, which is never the editor's fault. It's always the fault of whatever they ended up shooting on the day, because you can only do so much with the footage that you've got. So I do wonder whether a lot of this has to be put on Colin Trevorrow here, because this is not only his movie that he's directed. To be honest, his Jurassic World franchise is his baby, and he started it. And I think he's kind of messed up the landing. It's just I know the audience score is quite good, but I do wonder whether if you broaden that scope a bit, you might find that movie might not have such a high score.
Well, that's a scathing review, but you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I found myself sitting in the theater. I had a good time. But I like everything. It's the name of my channel. I had a good time, but there were some things that took me out. And if it's enough to make me go make a meme of a giant Jurassic shoehorn, you got to wonder. Real quick, I just want to ask you, Edward, do you think, if you are a fan of the Jurassic franchise and you love seeing dinosaurs and you love shiny things, do you think this movie is worth seeing? For it's a family movie and it's fun, and I told a friend, well, I didn't get smarter from watching this movie, but I had a good time. What do you think? Do you think this movie's worth seeing, or are you saying no, don't even bother, just go watch the first one again? What do you think?
I would say that don't watch the first movie again. Honestly, if you are a fan of the Jurassic Park franchise, then this film will not do it for you. If you're a younger person that has kind of grown up with these Jurassic World movies, then maybe. But honestly, there's not enough in this film for me to say, yeah, it's something you should go and see. I think you can easily miss this one. You haven't missed out on much.
Wow. All right. Scathing review from Edward Lauder, the man, the myth, the legend. There you go, guys. And some people are going to like this. Some people are not. And it's okay. When you're watching a movie, it's your opinion. So if you don't let a critic upset you, don't let Edward upset you. No, Edward's got pretty good taste. If he tells me not to see something, I probably watch it anyway. I like shiny things. But anyway, all right. Well, Edward, man, I really appreciate you taking the time today to come hang out with me virtually and talk about this movie. Edward, tell everybody at home where they can check out your stuff.
Yeah, you can. Well, basically follow us anywhere at Small Screen Co. And the website is small-screen.co.uk. But yeah, find Small Screen anywhere. And if you want to check me out on Twitter, you can at EJ Lauder.
And you're doing audio podcasts too, correct?
Yes, we are. If you check out Small Screen on YouTube, we will be coming up with some pretty interesting kind of little tidbits about what's going on there. We still haven't finished it quite yet, but we will do pretty soon. It should be out in July. We'll start it in July, hopefully. And you will be involved, Clint.
I absolutely will. I can't wait. So we got Small Screen, and you will see this logo right there on the Small Screen page if you're looking for Small Screen. But lots of great stories about all the movies and shows and stuff that you love. So check that out. Edward, again, man, I really appreciate you coming in. And guys, you want to see a shiny movie? Go watch Jurassic Park. If you were distracted by things like a bad plot, don't go see Jurassic Park. I don't know. Thank you guys at home. There's lots of movies and TV shows coming down the pike, and we're going to be talking all about it right here on Clint Likes Everything. Thank you for watching another episode of Everything Movies.